What's good, YouTube? This is Cam chilling back again with another video, giving you a recap for the Texans Packers game. And first things first, I gotta say this right out of the bat. We have a kicker. Yes, finally, we finally found a kicker in Brandon McManus. Let's just go ahead and get on to this. Brandon McManus with the game-winning field goal after being signed with the Packers just days ago before this game. There was a lot of pressure for that man, and this is not a guy who was a rookie. I mean, this guy has been a veteran for a number of years now. He had a very good career when he used to play for the Denver Broncos. I think he played 1 year for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and now he's playing his first game at Green Bay. And for him to hit that field goal after just sitting on his couch days before the game and hitting his first actual field goal. Now, he made some extra points there after the Packers scored a touchdown, so I guess that's not technically his first field goal, but the first field goal where you have to score 3 points, and that was a game winner, and how amazing it was. So shout out to McManus for making that field goal. I hope that this time we don't have to worry about replacing a kicker here anymore, because that was one of the weaknesses for this Packers team, as the Packers came up victorious 24-22. And I already knew it was going to be a close game, because coming into this game, we had two young quarterbacks. Both have very good offenses. Both of them also have good defenses overall. And even before this game, there was a ton of fighting that was going on right before this game with, of course, Stephon Diggs. But I think it was because of Jair Alexander. I mean, those two guys do not like each other. They really did not. And I think it started back. Remember a few years ago, the Packers with Aaron Rodgers at the time, they were facing against the Buffalo Bills when Stephon Diggs was a part of that Bills team, and he faced against Jair Alexander. I believe that was the moment when those two really gone at it. I could be wrong about that. You guys can let me know if I'm wrong about that, but since then, both those guys have been going at it since, and it continued in this game alone. Now, we'll actually save that a little later in this video. We're going to talk about the defense here for a little bit, but let's start with the offense for the Packers here first. With Jordan Love. This guy came out here with completing 24 of 33, 220 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now, he did have 2 interceptions and was sacked 3 times. So there were some good moments for Jordan Love, but also some pretty bad moments for Jordan Love, especially with those interceptions. Now, this is a guy who likes to take risks, and I do like that for Jordan Love, being aggressive with the football, always trying to look for the big play, but sometimes you got to be a little careful of where you want to throw to, you know what I'm saying? And both those interceptions were pretty bad. Both of those were bad. The first interception, I believe, I think he was trying to hit Bo Melton there on that short route on the 3rd down, but that defender was kind of jumped that guy's route, and that led to an interception, so that wasn't great. And by the way, he could have had 3 interceptions in that game too, because the one that was almost intercepted, that Jordan Love threw his first touchdown pass, literally went through the guy's hands, and he almost made that catch there, but instead it went into Tucker Kraft's hands. Great effort by Tucker Kraft, by the way. This guy has been coming along. I definitely love that. But yeah, that was almost an interception right there, but thankfully it wasn't. It led to a touchdown, but that was just a laser throw there by Jordan Love, so you definitely love to see that. And then the second interception, it was a little bit too high when he was looking for Christian Watson, and that ended up leading the interception for the safety of the Houston Texans right there. So, but overall, I'm not really that worried there for Jordan Love right now. I mean, we've seen this before. Like last year, he had a number of interceptions in his first year starting as a Packers starting QB. But then later into the season, he started to get more careful with the football, being a very, very more efficient passer there of the football. So I have no doubt that Jordan Love is going to continue to improve as the season moves along. And now you look at the running game. Now it was a decent running game. As a team, they only had like 20 carries, 82 yards overall as a team. Like Josh Jacobs, he didn't have a lot of opportunities here in this game. But when he does touch the ball, he was still running the ball effectively, but only with 12 carries and 76 yards, an average of 6.3 yards per carries, which is good. But Emmanuel Wilson wasn't great as a number 2 running back, only 5 carries, 11 yards. But this is a very good Texan defense here, so got to give kudos to their defense. Jay Reed, only 1 carry for 0 yards. Bo Melton, 1 for -1. And Christian Watson, 1 for -4 yards. So a decent running game, not the greatest, but just okay. All right, and you look at the wide receivers. Romeo Doubs was the leading receiver for this team. Atlanta with 8 catches and 94 yards. An amazing game for Romeo Doubs. Dantamian Wicks was the second leading receiver for the Packers with 3 catches and 48 yards. So that's a solid game there. Tucker Kraft, 3 catches for 33 yards. Again, an amazing effort for catching that ball in the end zone that went through that defender's hand there and still was able to catch that. So you love to see that. Josh Jacobs also got in the action with 5 catches for 16 yards. Jaden Reed was a little quiet, 2 catches for 10 yards. And then Christian Watson, Bo Melton, and Ben Simmons also had a catch in there as well. So that's still very good to see there. Now we got to get into the great stuff here in the team. Because even though I like what the offense did here for the most part in this game, but the biggest story for this Packers team for this game was their defense. Their defense. As they definitely showed out against CJ Stroud, which is definitely not easy. It is not easy to face CJ Stroud. But man, that defense made it hard for him apparently. As you look at these stats for CJ Stroud, he only completed 10 passes of 21 total for only 86 yards. Yes, 86. 86 yards. The whole game. That's it. Not the half. Not the second half. Not the first half. The whole game. The whole game. Only had 86 yards. That is absolutely amazing. And this game was still that close. I think the only reason why this game was this close was because of Joe Mixon. He was kind of carrying the team on his back. And with 25 carries, 115 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So it's very good for the Houston Texans to have him back. He's the one that always keeps his team here going. And he's been very, very good for the Texans throughout this season. I was a little bit concerned with him after having a couple of decent seasons for the Cincinnati Bengals. But so far, he has excelled my expectations here. And he's been very, very good. Looking like one of the best running backs in the NFL. So that is very, very good to see. And also CJ Stroud also has some runs in there. Only for 5 carries for 19 yards. But still, even though the running game was there for the Houston Texans, the passing game was not there. As CJ Stroud was getting pressured time and time again. And that was one of my concerns here for the Packers defense so far, is that the pass rush hasn't been there for the most part throughout the season. But it's good to see that the pass rush showed up here for this game. And I think it's because the offensive line is not very good for the Houston Texans there. But hey, the Packers were able to take advantage of that. So that's very good to see. And since CJ Stroud only had 86 yards passing, you look at these receivers. The leading receiver for the Houston Texans was Dalton Schultz, who was actually a tight end. But only 1 catch for 28 yards. That's literally it. Just a one big play for Dalton Schultz. All right, now we get into Stephon Diggs, as I talked about earlier. I think it's safe to say that Jair is becoming the father of Stephon Diggs. Just saying. Just saying. Because so far, every time that Jair goes up against Stephon Diggs, Jair has pretty much owned Stephon Diggs. He has owned him. Jair has owned Stephon Diggs, including this game. Because Diggs only had 5 catches for 23 yards. Jair was doing a good job for the most part getting after Stephon Diggs, going into his head. But it's not just Stephon Diggs. I mean, Jair was doing a lot of talking in this game. Even CJ Stroud. Remember that play when Jair put the hits like a big boom on CJ Stroud? Now, I don't know what Jair was even saying to him or Stephon Diggs there, but you gotta love the competitiveness for Jair Alexander, okay? That's how great of a cornerback this guy is. Don't play with that man. Lockdown. So, yeah. But, yeah, this game was being close as I expected. But looking into that game, I think it's more due with the Packers offense kind of giving the Texans the ball into an easier position to score here, like those interceptions. And it's not just that. It was also the special teams that I didn't touch on earlier. I did talk about Brandon McManus with that great field goal winner, but there was also a bad moment when the special teams, I believe the Packers were up 7-3 at that time. Unfortunately, after the Texans punted, as the ball went bouncing, it touched a Packers player. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Corey Ballantyne, I believe. Next time, you gotta stay away from the ball. You can't get too close here in the football when you're not looking. You gotta do a better job with that. Allowing the Texans to recover the football, and he ended up scoring a touchdown with Joe Mixon there. So that part I did not love. But right now, that doesn't matter because the Packers were able to win this game. Not the prettiest game, but they still won it here anyway. And also, the Packers even lost a turnover battle, and they still won. So despite all those mistakes that the Packers made, they still won the game. Shout out to the Houston Texans for giving us a good game. An amazing game for a lot of people to see. Definitely turned out to be one of the best games of Week 7. Definitely live up to the hype. So now they'll be heading over to Jacksonville next week. But then after that, they'll be at Lambeau Field to take on the Detroit Lions. So I'll be looking forward for that game. But first, we got to take care of business. The Jaguars, don't want to sleep on them because even though they only had 2 wins, you still don't want to sleep on this Jaguars team there still. So hopefully take care of business on that. But for right now, we're going to enjoy this win against the Houston Texans. And I like the direction that this Packers team is heading. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Texans-Packers game in Week 7. What are your thoughts about this game? You can put your comments down below. I would love to know. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and also please subscribe. And until next time, this is Cam chillin', and I am signing off. Peace.